Woo, let me tell you about Southern Holler. Deep-rooted conversation on civics and business. It offers an insightful exploration of local politics, community dynamics, and business partnerships. Each episode unravels a complex interplay between civic affairs and business ventures.
Power Evans.
Jeremiah Outwater, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm going.
I hear you on that.
I'm going. How are you?
Man, I couldn't be better. If I was any better, I'd be you.
Whew, that'd be a lot right now. Really good looking, very successful, killing it at life.
Hey, it's running that race, baby. Running that race. Well, what you been up to? I know it's been kind of a hard season for you.
So, I would want to take a minute. We usually have a little bit of fun at the beginning of the show, just the crazy things that we think are interesting. Just want to say, Belle, my wife, lost her mom a few days ago. We're recovering from that. Just a simple acknowledgement to friends and family, to our community that's reached out to us, supported us in a lot of different ways. Donations to the library, donations to my nonprofit in Alice Middlebrook's name's been, and then bringing us food and giving us hugs and things like that. Thank you to the community. It means a lot to us. People say they have thoughts and prayers. It's like, it's that time in life that we really needed it, and we felt them, and just want to say a sincere thanks to everybody.
I got to meet her a couple times.
Well, I think we could tell the story.
Okay. So the first time that I met your mother-in-law, you called me, and you said, Power, where are you at? I said, well, I just pulled into the house. And he said, Bale and them have just gotten into an accident pulling out of the urgent care facility. I said, okay. So I went up, and it was right across from the Outwater Hospital. And I pulled in the liquor store right there. And Belle, bless her heart, was out in the middle of the road with her car. Somebody had slammed into her, and her mama was there. And so got the car off the road, got them out of the road. And, Belle, bless her heart, she was tore up. She wanted to make sure her mom was okay. The only thing that Miss Middlebrooks cared about was she needed a cigarette. She needed a cigarette bad. And she told Belle that first, she wanted you to bring cigarettes. And, of course, you're going down the highway. You're not going to stop. So Belle had to walk into the liquor store in the middle of this crash scene and get her a pack of cigarettes. And she was fine after that. She was good.
Again, I don't endorsing smoking at all, but that was Alice's helper through life. Mm-hmm. I don't endorse it at all, but Absolutely. That might be still one of my favorite memories. I have several memories like that. Alice was barely weighed 90 pounds, and that's the person I was terrified throughout the last 26 years of life.
It doesn't matter how big she'd whoop you. She'd cut you.
Well, so, again, I'm not going to press on too much, but, she quickly, thankfully. Yeah. One thing we always knew that she was okay because she was just fighting with us.
Absolutely.
When Mama Alice was still fighting with you, it's like, yeah, everything's fine. We're good. And then when she got quiet, it's like, okay.
Absolutely.
I got you.
One quick thing before we introduce our guest today, I just want to give a shout out to the City of Auburn. So yesterday was the State of the Communities lunch at the Rec Department in Winder, and we got to see from the Mayor of Auburn some 3D renderings of what Auburn's downtown is going to look like after the redevelopment, and it looks great. It really does. It doesn't even look the same, and I mean that in a good way because it is going to give it a good facelift. It's going to look good, and it's going to attract some people to downtown Auburn.
Yeah, So it's really funny. We're in that weird space to each small town in Georgia has to go through this. Every small town in America goes through Absolutely. This. At some point, you really do have to decide, how do you preserve what you have? I still say it's not about the buildings, it's about the people. But you do have to keep some perspective on maintaining some of the old things and then introducing some newer things for the next generations of people behind us. Couldn't be more excited. I think Mayor Rockmore did a good job, and we actually had the builders with us.
Yes.
I think it's RS Construction. I think that's who it was. They've got a great mind for it and forward thinking, Absolutely. And couldn't be more happy of them being on board.
Absolutely. We're very proud for Auburn, and just great for them. So our guest today, I'm really excited about having our guest on today, and that is Miss Kathryn Lookofsky. She works for WorkSource Georgia, and we're excited to have her on. Kat, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you here.
Can you tell us your full, what do you do again?
Okay. So my name is Kathryn Lookofsky, and I am the Regional Coordinator for Economic Development for WorkSource Georgia, which is the Office of Workforce Development for the Technical College System of Georgia. And I work in economic development in 12 counties surrounding Athens, so including Barrow and Jefferson.
Wow. Yeah. I think we share some of those counties, too.
We share all those counties.
Yeah. It's the same,
It's the same counties.
You're right.
You have some overlap.
Yes, we do. That's why we keep running into each other, Power.
Talking with Kat before we got on is every time me and Kat sit down together, I learn something new about her, and it's great. There's always a great story. I was hoping you would grace us with one of your stories today because you've got a tremendous. I wish you'd write a book, but you have a tremendous amount of stories that I think are awesome.
All right. You asked for my fire department story.
Yes.
So earlier in my career, I worked in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. Now, I was born and raised in Kentucky and went to college, both undergrad and grad school in Atlanta. Moving to New England was kind of like moving to a foreign planet. The culture, the people, weather, everything's completely different up there. But also local government's completely different. And the small town I was in, they decided everything through a public meeting where the entire populace voted on every single thing. So if the police need new radios, everybody votes on it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I say it's crazy. They're used to it. They're happy with it. I was working on the city budget trying to figure out where we could cut money. And being from the South, I don't think about it, too much. We had a fire department, and because it's a small town, we had 2 fire trucks. They were older fire trucks, and they were in an old fire station that was built in the 1800s. And one of the major line items on their budget was heating the firehouse. Why is it so expensive? And they're heating the bays of the fire station. And I'm like, why? I was like, it's so much money. And I was like, we don't have to heat those fire station bays. That's too much. And so I suggested we cut the heat for the fire station bays. Being from the South, what I didn't think of is fire trucks are diesel.
Oh, yeah.
And I froze and killed a fire truck.
Oh, no.
Which made me really popular in a small town trying to, that's,
oh, no.
Pinch a penny, lose a pound. That's exactly what I did. I saved all kinds of money on the heating bill. We lost quite a bit on buying a new fire truck. So.
But you could say you brought a new fire truck to Hillsborough, New Hampshire.
Yeah, right? Yeah, but...
I love it.
So.
I love
But
it.
you live and learn. You live and learn. So
Wow.
I've never frozen another diesel.
I had no idea you did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
I've done all kinds of dumb stuff, Jeremiah. Just wait.
No, I'm glad you're on today. This is great. I love that. I love that story.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love life experiences.
Yeah.
So would you tell us a little bit of what you do on a weekly basis, what you share with folks and your job as a whole?
Yeah, it gets a little confusing for people. A few years ago, they picked up our entire department out of the Department of Labor, all the WorkSource people, and moved us to the technical college system. So when people are looking for laborers and trying to figure out how they're going to hire people and where those people are going to come from, they typically go to the labor department, and we're no longer there. We're now with WorkSource, technical college system. So doing the same job, still doing exactly what I was doing for the Department of Labor, but now for the Office of Workforce Development. The main thing I do is I work with economic development officials throughout the region and throughout the state on occasion, but mostly throughout the 12-county region. And I help them if they've got, this is a lame example, if you've got the new widget factory coming and they're trying to figure out where to put their widget factory, they come to me to find out labor market information or what we call LMI. And that labor market information, I can tell them how many widget makers we already have in the area, how much a typical widget maker makes, how long it takes us to train widget makers, how far we think a widget maker will drive to work in the factory. And so I provide that kind of information. But the other thing our unit does is we help operate the WorkSource Georgia portal. It's a website, worksourcegaportal.com, worksourcegaportal.com, just so everybody gets it. And I don't ever say anything's a free service that's provided by our government because nothing the government provides is free. It's paid for by your tax dollars. So it's not a free service, but it's at no cost to either the person looking for a job or the employer looking to hire someone. And what you can do is go onto that website, worksourcegaportal.com, and register, and you can upload your resume and search for jobs, or you can upload your job description and search for employees. We can help you do that, and we can also help you screen employees, which is a big help. So we can basically do anything a search firm could do. We could help you do that, but once again, no charge. Absolutely. That's something your tax dollars are providing. Absolutely. And also help people with their resumes and getting those onboarded. It's a great service that we're offering.
A lot of these new companies, and they're companies that they spend all this money on consultants or something like that, when, like you said, you offer this service for free.
Right.
I don't believe we have as big of as an unemployment number as some do. It's still working, but how is unemployment in the area?
It's been hovering right at 3%. 3%, and historically is considered full employment.
Wow.
So when you've got unemployment at 3%, they pretty much say anybody that wants a job's got one. And that's where we've been hovering for a while now, a few years.
Wow.
getting jobs filled is a big challenge for everyone. And so that's a place we added great value, is helping get those jobs filled and help get people connected to the jobs that are needed out there.
So how are you connected to education and technical colleges again?
Well, we're part of the technical college system.
The system itself, okay.
Yes, so we work very closely with the technical college. Our data and our partners come from the technical college system, but we also work with WIOA, the other part of workforce development, Title III folks and the Title II folks. They provide training. Y'all are all probably familiar with Carol Rayburn, the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission, and Vicki Scotland.
Yes.
Absolutely.
They help connect.
Well, we are.
Yeah,
I know who those are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They help connect people with the training they need. So it's one thing to say, I need to hire widget makers, but if they don't know the first thing about a widget, we need to teach them how.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. Let's get into more specifics if you
Okay.
have some numbers with you. We both live in Barrow, and then you live out towards Athens, right?
I live in Athens, yeah.
How does the Barrow-Jackson outlook for people looking for jobs? You said we're at about 3%.
Yeah,
For
and
unemployment?
that's generally throughout the state. We're at about 3%. I always joke that UGA needs to get on that cloning stuff pretty quick because I just don't know where all the people are going to come from. We're right about 3%, which is great, you know,
Yeah.
if as far as our local economy goes.
Right.
But when we're bringing new businesses in, where do
Yeah.
they get the people? It's a big symbiotic relationship among all the different systems because you're bringing people in. If you consider everybody employed and you need to bring more workers to the area, they have to have somewhere place to live.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
you were talking about, you know, like what you're doing in Auburn for
Yeah.
quality of life. That's a huge issue. The other hat I wear, and I've told y'all this before, but I work for Carl Vinson Institute and
Yep.
do development authority training for them.
Absolutely.
And one of the things we always talk about is we learned during the pandemic, you can pretty much pick up your laptop and go anywhere in the world and work now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So why the
Absolutely.
heck do I want to live in Auburn? That's the kind of thing you have to sell for economic development. Whereas before, your farmers markets and your
Yes.
festivals and your parades were kind of a fluffy thing. Oh, isn't that cute?
Yep.
You're doing
Yes.
a parade.
But now they need more.
Exactly, because when you can pick up your laptop and go anywhere in the world to work,
Absolutely.
you've got to do something that makes your community attractive.
Yeah.
If you can choose to live anywhere, why would I choose Auburn? Why would I
Correct.
choose Winder? And it's because there's something for my kids to do on a Saturday. There's
Yes. Absolutely.
I feel safe there. I know
Right.
my neighbors. I joke about every time I go out to community and talk to them, I go around the table and I'm like, what do you love most about your community? You know, why do you live here? No one has ever said because of the Starbucks or the Chick-fil-A or the CVS or
Yes.
the Walmart.
Yes.
They've never,
Yes.
that's never been an answer.
McDonald's is my favorite.
Yeah, no, they've never said that. It's always, you know, the mom and pop barbecue
Yeah.
stand, or
Yes.
I know my next door neighbors, or
Yeah.
you know, great schools, or whatever
right.
it is. But it's never those things. But when you go out and you talk to your community, well, why don't we have a Chick-fil-A here, or
Yes.
you know, that sort of thing?
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
not what makes the community great. It's
Yeah.
the community that makes the community great, and the
Yeah.
people. And part of building that community is supporting those small businesses and
Absolutely.
and things that you can't get anywhere else.
Absolutely.
I'm always like, you need to be the best Auburn you can be. You need to be the best Winder you can be, because you're not going to be Danielsville. You're not going to be Watkinsville. You're going to be whatever you are. So figure
Absolutely.
out how to make it the
Absolutely.
best it is,
Well,
and what makes your community unique and special.
So to make your point, my wife and I host a foreign exchange student. We're talking about some things in the future. She's still in high school. She goes home, and then in 2 years she wants to come back, and she wants to pursue some career goals here. We told her that she's always welcome back. But I drove her around Auburn in the area. I said, you tell me where would you live and why would you live there? And I took her to every house product that we have. Big yards, farms, townhome, detached home, single, 2-story, 3-story. We came upon one of the newer builds, and it has oversized sidewalks that has some acreage that walks around in the community, and there's a small cafe out front.
Yep.
I said, why is that? Why would you do that? She said, I see myself in the next 20 years on the go. I don't want to mow my own lawn. I don't know how to do that anyway. I don't want to do that. I want to work. I want to have a career. I want to do this. I want to do that. She goes, I want to be able to walk everywhere and buy coffee.
Exactly.
I'm
Community.
like, oh, okay. Because I'm thinking what their American dream was buying a house, having some land, and a white picket fence. And that's what my wife and I have done.
Right.
But you do have to start talking to your community about the people like behind you. You know, we still learning what happened during COVID, where people, it's like they do want community. They want to be a little bit closer to each other. They don't mind it so much. And a lot of people don't work on their own houses.
years ago, I worked for a city just south of Atlanta, and they were part of the the Atlanta Regional Commission's Livable Cities Initiative. And what the Livable Cities Initiatives, they were taking all these suburbs of Atlanta that were railroad stops, like Norcross and different places like that, and trying to figure out how to promote those and redevelop them. And hopefully one day there'd be passenger rail through there again. So when I was working in this community, we were talking about how to increase the density around the rail stop. We had a developer come through and was going to build townhouses, and one of our commissioners was just, no way.
Yeah.
And he's like, this isn't Atlanta. I'm like, but you can see Atlanta. If you look out that window, you can see the, skyline. And he's like, well, where are people going to put their woodshed? I don't have a woodshed. Do y'all have a woodshed?
No, I don't have a woodshed.
Yeah, I would love a woodshed at my house, but no, most of us don't have that now. I would say a lot of us don't have that.
But it's everything old is new again. These aren't new concepts.
Absolutely.
200 years ago, people did walk everywhere and lived close by. And
And what I think that would be, I think that would be the coolest thing if, like you said, you brought back passenger rail. You had train depots again. You had everything to where you opened a restaurant. So when you, in the morning, go get your coffee, go to the train station, ride the train into Atlanta, work, come back, pick up dinner on your way home.
Yeah.
Well, when I first moved to Athens, I was still doing my job south of Atlanta, so I did the commute a few times. And I don't know why people aren't writing in the street for better mass transit between here
Oh, God.
and Atlanta. The people that do that every day, God bless them.
I couldn't even imagine. I met a guy, he lived in Athens, and he worked in Hateville.
Oof.
Right next to the Southwest Airlines, where they do all their air cargo.
Yeah.
And he would drive from Athens to Hateville every single day.
It's our buddy. Yeah. Well, I drove from Auburn, Georgia to Norcross and Lilburn every day.
Yeah.
And that was 25 miles one way. That it doesn't include the hours in traffic.
Yeah.
And they talk about how expensive passenger rail and mass transit are, and they are.
Yeah.
But how expensive is it, all that time lost in the vehicles by all the people? And that's time you can't volunteer for your kids' little league team. That's time you can't be on civic organizations.
Absolutely.
So it's not just the cost of the commute, it's the cost of the environment, it's the cost of your communities. So yeah, it is expensive, but is it really? But also us Americans, we like our cars and we like to go where we want to go. We want to do it now.
I love my truck.
Yeah, I was going to say Power just bought a new truck, so
I know.
it's new to him.
I was just giving him a hard time in the parking lot.
Well, that he has to take
mileage was on it.
Yeah, because he has to take up 2 parking spaces to park his truck now.
Oh, I can get it in one. It looks big, but it honestly it's the same size. It's just a little bit taller.
I'm not going to make any jokes. But, okay.
We managed to park ourselves easily.
Right?
You know what? Yes, y'all have it up on me. Y'all can get in and out of the parking deck easy, and you can park easy.
Jeremiah and I are both really impressed with the size of your truck.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
I feel like I'm one of those people that I've always yelled at in traffic for like encroaching on me in a lane. I fear that I'm one of those people.
Oh man, we're just one country song. That's all we are. That's what we sound like today. What kind of an industry has been moving to the area, do you think? That's been the biggest impact?
All kinds of stuff, honestly. If you look at what's already here, a lot of retail and restaurant, which y'all know, we're getting a lot with data centers and things like that around.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, you can put a data center about anywhere, too.
Absolutely. And it's not a lot of employees, and it's a lot of electricity and water, but it's not a lot of people.
Right. And then...
Wait. We'll sell you water, but continue.
Yeah, exactly. Barrow County's got water.
It's just Winder water with the Auburns left on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can get me later.
Yeah, that's okay.
Have y'all heard about Barrow County's water? That's a big thing. Big thing for Barrow County. Power, you can speak to this as much as I can as far as what's coming in and what's going, but the data centers, but also electric vehicles.
Absolutely.
And the things associated with electric vehicles going on. You think about this being on the other side of the state, but it affects us too. The new Hyundai plant down in Savannah, the inland port.
Oh, absolutely.
There's all kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
And once again, it's that quality of life thing.
Absolutely.
That draws them here because they could have done this in New Mexico or somewhere else. They picked Georgia for a reason.
And they look at these areas.
It's once again being open to all walks of life and having that diversity is so important for drawing in business.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got,
and showing people they're welcome here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Georgia has done a very great job in showing that, like you said. I mean, you know,
Southern hospitality.
I mean, that's true. That's what it is. And, you know, at the end of the day as well, Georgians here, you want to be as open to these people coming in and starting their new lives here. That could be a new brand. Southern hospitality, doing it the right way
Right.
in Georgia.
Welcome to Georgia.
Come one, come all.
Yeah.
Southern hospitality.
What else you got going on? We got a few more minutes here just to kind of wrap up what you do. We've covered everything between Athens and here. Is there
Right.
anything that you want to talk about that you have working on?
Well, once again, I think the big thing, if you don't take anything else away from this, is the WorkSource Georgia portal. I'll say it again, WorkSourceGAportal.com, WorkSourceGAportal.com. And once again, you can post your jobs there and you can search for jobs there. Not free, but at no charge.
Absolutely.
Would love for y'all to do that. Also, if we can help you do that, if you have any problems, there's tutorials on the site. It's pretty intuitive, but, you know, I say that. But if you have any trouble, there's also a support line, 404-982-7985. where you can get some help, and there's also links on the website to get help if you need it. But it's a great service that's being offered to help get people connected to each other in jobs.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Kat.
Thanks for coming in. You're
Thanks for having
you're
me.
like the
Enjoyed
secret
it.
sauce to numbers and making people look good. So that's
I appreciate
that's
it.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
And thank you for listening today at Northeast Georgia Business RadioX Studio, where it's a production studio. You can always find it at negabrx.com. We're Southern Holler. That's power. I'm Jeremiah. Thanks to Mr. Tom, as usual.